We just finished watching the EA press conference.
Yes, we did.
What were your kind of overall impressions?
I thought they were going to open with Battlefront, to be honest with you.
And instead, they surprised us with Mass Effect. It wasn't, gameplay, which I think was hopeful on our part.
I think that was really hopeful. I think we knew better, but seeing it in some trailer form, I guess, is good.
It seemed like they were really, at least my takeaway from it was that they were trying to kind of point out the fact that it's going to be lots of different, very varied worlds. And so hopefully they have some new gameplay ideas and stuff behind that.
Yeah, for sure.
It was Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yes.
Was the name of it.
Which I'm going to have to look up that name and see if there's any connections.
Yeah.
It's not like right now springing to mind anything, but like I said, we're sitting here and I could need to dig into my lore.
Yes. And they said
Clearly.
2016, so
I saw
sometime next year,
2016.
We'll see.
Yes, exactly. Like I could see stuff, even some of this stuff that's slated for this coming year, I could see slipping. I don't know. I just look at how big these games are now, and it's hard to believe that they're not going to need more time to fine tune these without all the ambition and what they want to do. I'm glad they're being really ambitious. I just hope they're careful about it.
I think everyone has come to expect delays at this point. Then they went into the new Need for Speed.
Which we said was Fast and Furious.
Yes,
Need for Speed now.
A very flashy take. The speech that they gave along with it was very hyperbolic about it being the ultimate Need for Speed, bringing in all the different Need for Speeds together. I don't know about that. The thing that stuck out to me was they said there were 5 stories in it. Like, since when does a racing game need a story, to walk you through it to begin with? But 5 stories now? I guess they wanted...
Replay value, man.
I'm sure. So many important choices in there. They kind of touched on 5 different things: speed, style, build, crew, and outlaw were kind of the different aspects.
We saw the customization, which looked pretty deep, to say the least.
Crew, I guess, is playing with friends, I would assume. Outlaw, of course, is cops versus...
Yeah, well, you have to have the cops in there. It's Need for Speed, so...
It was also kind of weird that they had real actors in there.
Yeah, that threw me off,
and
too.
then it seamlessly blended into the car. So we'll see. It looked great. They said it was pre-alpha footage. I'll believe that when we actually get a chance to play it.
That's true.
Because some of the buildings and stuff looked so real that...
Well, they said you weren't going to know that you were in a game.
I know, I'm sure. After that, we went to Star Wars The Old Republic, which was a game we didn't even mention it
But here's what I find funny with that. They're like, we're going to bring to people what they love with BioWare, the rich storytelling and really tell a great... I'm like, wasn't that the plan all along, that this was supposed to be the MMO focused for story players?
We are trying that again.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, maybe we didn't quite get there, but we're going to really... And I like I said, they're having it for free, so I really can't fault it, and I'm not... I haven't played it since way back when the MMO first came out, but it just like all the selling points that they're doing just seem like, I thought that's what your MMO was about. So it seems weird that...
Yeah, we'll see if they can deliver on that. It seemed to be very focused on 2 twins that were growing up. We saw a kind of a smaller indie game called Unravel.
Yes.
The most adorable game.
Okay, I've been dying to talk about this game. I actually saw it at pre-E3 weeks ago, and the game just struck me from the minute I actually got hands-on with it, and it is super, super adorable, as we saw. And honestly, like, from what I played, I could see this being like the next big puzzle game that people are talking about, kind of the way that they talked about, Braid or Limbo, just on that extent. There's something very charming about it that, like, as we said, you can't help but, like, it reminds me in that weird way of like Toy Story 3 when you see the toys get lost and you're just like, oh no, and like as he's going through the environment with that little face. Yarny, I'm really interested to see. Stay tuned, because we'll actually have... I wrote my impressions up, and we'll be posting that shortly. So,
great.
That game looks great.
So, would you say it's more puzzle-based than platformer?
I would say it's a good combo. Like, I felt like I did a good mix of it, and I liked how creative you kind of get with what you do with the yarn. Like, 1 minute you're using it as a lasso. At one point, I used it as a slingshot. It's very... Like I said, I can finally talk about it because the press conference is over. That was the stipulation on it. So I'm super excited about that one. Like, I think we all kind of need a little bit of those lovable cute games.
And it's good for EA too, because I think they focus mainly on a few very large IPs. It's nice to see them doing
kind of branch off
Yeah.
and do something smaller. So
Yeah, for sure.
I'm definitely, that's like we said, that's the most adorable game we're going to see all day. I don't
think
know if
so.
you can top that. So.
No. Good luck. Garden Warfare 2.
Yeah, I played that too.
Yeah, it seemed like the big thing this time was they kind of reversed the formula where now you could play as zombies in the last game in the PvP, but this time it's kind of built like the horde mode is you're the zombies and the plants are attacking you.
Yeah, and like I said, new classes are being brought in. I played it. I actually had a lot more fun with it than I was expecting. Like, granted, I didn't play much of the first game, but I did a few matches, and it felt like something that's cool to just get around and play with your friends. You know, I kind of like that they've turned it, like as you said, into the zombies just kind of owning the world.
Sure.
And I think they're going to get really creative with some of those environments that you visit. I think they said 12 new maps for this one. Okay. And then, as they said, which we both agree, free content updates are great to get players to keep playing your free-to-play games.
Yeah,
so.
that clearly worked for the first one. I think they said 6 million people had played
For
it.
sure.
It's also one of the few family-friendly competitive shooters out there.
That's what's true too. Yeah, you can play that with the family. You know, it's
local
not
split screen.
Yeah,
again,
and I think that's great. And two, now they're letting you play solo and couch co-op on there. So I mean, that means that if you don't want to go online, you don't have to. Although I assume it's more fun online, but that's an option for if you don't have, like, if you want to play on Xbox One or PS4, you technically then don't need a subscription to get online for those. So, I mean, because you can play offline. So,
and I believe the first one had a split screen mode, but it was limited to one very specific mode that wasn't a lot of fun.
Okay, well, hopefully these are a lot more fun. I don't know.
It seems like they're doubling down on that franchise.
But
and really going
that was a rough transition from Unravel to Garden Warfare, which there's a little...
What, you don't like the Danger Zone music?
No. That didn't work, but...
so...
We talked a bit about the sports games. I think they all, time will tell with those. Everybody can put out a good trailer. Everybody can say, what I love every time this time of year, well, we're really going big and it's the best this and this and we've improved. And
of course
you never know until you see those games how it's going to be.
Although EA can say that Madden literally stopped the show this time.
Yes, they can. So I guess they win there. But I think, I like FIFA's having women's teams now in there. I think that's a great thing for them to do. NHL, we'll have to see. NBA Live just does not still look great to me. I'm more of a 2K fan as it is, but something looked very unnatural about those animations. And
one did make you scream.
Yeah, well, it was scary. Jeez, but
last two games, really big ones. Mirror Edge.
Whew. Wow, I didn't have like high expectations. We discussed, I'm worried about that, and I think too, the only thing is it's really hard to kind of show off that fast-paced first-person gameplay through a trailer, because kind of watching it when you're not playing it is a little weird and doesn't feel completely normal. But I kind of liked the vibe they were going with her little story, and I really liked the environments. I kind of just like that world.
Yeah, it is. Seems very much open world this time around. There are going to be side activities. They said there were environmental puzzles and stuff. So it should be interesting to see how that goes. They said it was playable, didn't they?
Yeah, well, which I think is great. And it's coming out in February, end of February to be exact. So I think that's
pretty soon.
I think that's a good time for it too. Don't put it in a period where we have like all these big games coming out. Give it its own space to see if it can still, because that has, like, everybody said, well, it's got its little cult fan base. Well, maybe it'll grow beyond that. Yeah,
you don't want to go up against the Fallout 4s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think I like that it's coming, right at that time where people are like, I've gotten through all the games I got over the holidays. Like, I need something new now. So
maybe not Fallout 4, but we can make time for Mirror's Edge. And then the last one, Battlefront, like we said, they closed.
Okay, did you get the vibe that, like, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to keep track of everything that's going on, because it was just like boom, 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 here, change perspective. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, they they delivered on saying that they were going to show gameplay. They showed us gameplay, but they jumped around so much that it was still hard to kind of get the sense of the flow.
It made me dizzy inside. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, but they showed dogfights. They showed some abilities like the orbital strikes that they were calling in. They switched to third person there at the very end. That seemed
I like
to
the
work
different
fine.
gameplay styles that were going through it.
And then they had the heroes, which I was never a big fan of putting the heroes in there because they were always so overpowered.
Yeah.
That it kind of became about them, but it certainly looked cool. I'm glad we got to see Luke in there.
And they said that was going to be playable as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
so.
Once people get their hands on it, I'll be interested to see those impressions. Because like I said, anything can look great in a trailer. This one obviously jumped around a lot. I'm just not sure because at 1 minute you're looking right and then something's happening over here. I just don't want to get I want to be able to make sure I can focus on what's happening and not get too bombarded by everything going on.
Yeah.
Crazy. So.
Yeah, we will have hands-on impressions of that from the show and Mirror's Edge and supposedly all these games. I think they said pretty much everything was playable at the show.
Yeah, that's great.
So look for our hands-on impressions of those. I believe Ubisoft is next.
Yes.
So we will be back in a short while with the Ubisoft press conference. Thank you for watching us. Okay, 5 minutes, Wade says. Holy crap, we got to hurry.
Yes, thanks guys for tuning in.